Have you ever wondered why you feel this constant innie, this gnawing anxiety, this feeling of always chasing something you can't quite catch? Why, even with everything you ever wanted, do you still feel an emptiness that even fleeting pleasure can't feel? The answer may be closer than you think, hidden within the most primal and powerful energy you possess, your sexual energy. But before your mind rushes to judgment or shallow conclusions, allow me to take you on a journey that Napoleon Hill called the secret of secrets, the transmutation of sexual energy into personal power and fulfillment. We live in a society that has taught us to see sex as mere relief, as an escape valve, as an instant reward for our frustrations. We've been conditioned to believe that anxiety is something to be medicated, suppressed, controlled with pills and distractions. But what if I told you that your anxiety isn't your enemy, but a messenger, a sign that a tremendous force is being wasted, dissipated, thrown away with each impulsive release? What if the unease you feel wasn't a weakness, but the desperate cry of a gigantic potential begging to be channeled, directed, transmuted? Napoleon Hill, after studying the most powerful and accomplished men of his time, discovered a pattern that transcended social class, education, or opportunities. All these men had learned, consciously or unconsciously, the art of sexual transmutation. This wasn't about repression or denial, but something far more sophisticated and powerful. The ability to recognize sexual energy as the primordial creative force of the universe and redirect it towards higher purposes. When you release your life essence through compulsive masturbation or unconscious sex, you're not just losing bodily fluids. You're literally draining your life force, your ability to manifest, your connection to the power that moves mountains and builds empires. Every drop laden with creative potential, that escapes represents millions of unrealized possibilities, dreams that will never see the light, projects that will die before they are even born. The anxiety you feel is no coincidence. It's the direct reflection of an energy that can't find its natural path of expression. Imagine a dammed river, its waters building up pressure, desperately seeking an outlet. When you constantly release this energy, through momentary pleasures, you're creating small leaks that prevent the formation of the pressure needed to turn the turbines of achievement. The result is a constant state of purposeless tension, directionless anxiety, transformative unease. But there is another path, an ancient wisdom known to Eastern masters and rediscovered by Napoleon Hill through his meticulous research. Seminal retention isn't just the conservation of a fluid, it's the preservation of the very essence of creation, the fuel that powers humanity's greatest achievements. When you learn to contain this energy, something magical happens. The accumulated pressure doesn't disappear. It transforms, refines, elevates. The first few days of retention may be challenging. Your mind, conditioned for years of immediate release, will resist like an addict deprived of their fix. But this resistance is precisely the sign that something profound is changing. The energy that previously escaped through the paths of instant gratification begins to seek new channels, new forms of expression. This is where true inner alchemy takes place. You'll begin to notice subtle but profound changes. Your presence becomes more magnetic. Your words carry more weight. Your confidence no longer needs to be manufactured or forced. It emerges naturally from the reservoir of power you're building within yourself. The diffuse anxiety that once tormented you crystallizes into focus, directed, potent energy. It's as if an inner warrior awakens, not to fight the world, but to conquer it through self-transformation. Napoleon Hill observed, the most influential men of his era possessed an indefinable quality, a magnetism that transcended physical appearance or social skills. This magnetism, he discovered, was directly related to the ability to transmute sexual energies into creative energies. When you retain your life essence, you're not just conserving substances, you're accumulating the force that attracts opportunities, inspires confidence in others, and manifests realities. Modern science confirms what the ancients already knew. Semen contains precious substances, zinc, magnesium, proteins, enzymes, and hormones essential for the optimized functioning of the body. When you constantly deplete these reserves, you're literally undermining your physical and mental vitality. Retention allows these substances to be reabsorbed and redirected to nourish your brain, strengthen your vital energy, and enhance your capacity for achievement. But the transformation goes far beyond the physical aspect. There's a psychological and spiritual dimension to retention that touches the core of the male experience. Each time you resist the urge to release, you're exercising the muscle of self-discipline. You're proving to yourself that you're capable of choice, of directing your energies, of being the master and not the slave of your desires. This discipline radiates to all areas of life, strengthening your ability to persevere in difficult projects, to maintain focus on long-term goals, to transform visions into tangible realities. The anxiety, once your enemy, becomes your ally. You realize it was always pure energy, life force-seeking expression. When you stop dissipating it in empty pleasures, it concentrates, intensifies, becomes fuel for your highest ambitions. It's like transforming scattered steam into a concentrated laser. The same energy that once left you restless and scattered now propels you with focus and determination. The art of sublimation. Mastering your inner power. Ancient masters called this process sublimation. The art of transforming primal urges into refined expressions. The fire of desire isn't extinguished, it's redirected. Sexual passion becomes creative passion. The need to conquer transforms into the ability to achieve. The impulse to dominate evolves into the skill of leadership. You're not denying your masculine nature, you're elevating it to its highest potential. At this point in your journey, as you absorb these life-altering truths, I want to extend a special invitation. If these words resonate with you, if you feel you've finally found the missing pieces of your personal fulfillment puzzle, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell, not as another passive viewer, but as someone committed to their own transformation. Here, we share not just concepts, but practical tools to implement these truths in your life. Each video is a new piece of ancestral wisdom applied to the modern world, another step on the journey of those who choose to be extraordinary. Your subscription isn't just a click, it's a commitment to the most powerful version of yourself. Continuing our exploration, it's crucial to understand that semen retention isn't an end in itself, but a means to awaken latent capabilities that modern society has lulled to sleep. When you conserve your vital essence for weeks, something extraordinary happens in your nervous system. The energy that would be dispersed accumulates along your spine, activating centers of consciousness that remain dormant. Eastern traditions call this the awakening of Kundalini, the fiery serpent that, when activated correctly, transforms an ordinary man into a force of nature. But this transformation doesn't happen without resistance. Your mind, conditioned by decades of instant gratification, will create the most elaborate justifications for you to abandon the process. It will whisper about the risks, invent medical excuses, and project catastrophic scenarios. This mental resistance isn't your true voice. It's the echo of a system that profits from your weakness, that feeds on your energy dispersal. Napoleon Hill observed that men who managed to transmute their sexual energy developed a quality called sex appeal, but not in the superficial sense the term suggests today. It was a profound magnetism, a presence that naturally attracted success, opportunities, and influential people. This magnetism can't be faked or learned through techniques. It emerges naturally when you concentrate your life force instead of dispersing it. The anxiety you carry has deeper layers than you imagine. At the most superficial level, it's the result of wasted energy. But digging deeper, we discover it's also a reflection of a man disconnected from his primordial purpose. When you constantly release your creative essence without creating anything, your subconscious registers a fundamental incongruity. You're using the energy of creation for destruction, the fuel of manifestation for dispersal. This internal contradiction generates a state of conflict that manifests as chronic anxiety. The Semen retention tackles this problem at its root. When you stop wasting your life force, you automatically reconnect with your creative purpose. The accumulated energy doesn't stagnate. It presses for expression through elevated channels. You feel compelled to create, to build, to manifest. Projects that seemed impossible to start become irresistible. Goals that were just dreams gain the urgency of vital needs. Observe history's great achievers, and you'll find an interesting pattern. Many of them, consciously or unconsciously, practiced some form of energy conservation. Tesla worked tirelessly on his inventions, channeling all his life force into his creations. Gandhi transformed his sexual discipline into the political and spiritual power that liberated a nation. Michelangelo channels his passion into his immortal masterpieces. They understood, intuitively or through deliberate practices, that sexual energy is the source of all creative power. But don't be fooled into thinking this path is easy. The first 30 days are a war against deeply ingrained patterns. Your mind will create elaborate fantasies, your body will experience withdrawal symptoms, and your emotions will swing like an uncontrolled pendulum. This initial chaos is necessary. It's the process of detoxifying decades of energy dispersal. It's your psyche reorganizing itself into a new pattern of functioning. During this phase, it's crucial to understand that each resisted course is a victory over your lower nature. Each moment of endured tension strengthens your self-control. Each night spent without yielding to primal calls is a brick in the construction of your elevated character. You're not just conserving fluids, you're forging a new version of yourself in the fire of discipline. The transformation begins to accelerate after the first month. Your vital energy, no longer wasted in frequent releases, finds new channels of expression. Your concentration multiplies. Projects that require Herculean willpower become naturally appealing. Your presence in conversations intensifies. People begin to notice something different about you, though they can't quite put their finger on what it is. This change in presence isn't imagination. When you conserve your vital essence, you're literally altering your energy field. Science may not have instruments to measure this transformation, but those around you certainly perceive it. You become more magnetic, more convincing, more influential. Business deals that once required immense effort begin to flow naturally. Opportunities that seemed distant approach as if drawn by a magnet. Napoleon Hill called this quality magnetic personality and identified it as one of the pillars of extraordinary success. But he went beyond superficial of extraordinary success. Through his studies, he discovered that this magnetism was directly related to the ability to control and direct sexual energy. The men who mastered this art didn't just attract material success. They became natural leaders, visionaries, capable of inspiring and mobilizing others. That nagging anxiety, your old companion, undergoes a dramatic metamorphosis during this process. In the initial days of retention, it might intensify, as if protesting against the shift in routine. But gradually, you'll notice it transforming into something different, pure, concentrated, focused energy. What was once anxious, scatterbrainedness crystallizes into intense focus. What was restless emptiness converts into creative drive. This transformation of anxiety into power is perhaps the most remarkable aspect of the process. The same energy that kept you awake at night, worrying about unsolvable problems, now energizes you to confront challenges with unshakable confidence. Nervous tension transforms into creative tension. Destructive stress evolves into constructive stress, the pressure that creates diamonds. Ancient alchemists had a powerful symbol for this process, the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail. It represents the cycle of death and rebirth, the transformation of primal energy into higher consciousness. When you practice semen retention, you're literally experiencing this inner alchemy. Your lower nature isn't destroyed, it's refined, purified, elevated. But the transformation doesn't stop at the personal level. As your vital energy accumulates and refines, you begin to radiate a quality that profoundly affects your relationships. Your presence becomes more stable, more reliable, more inspiring. People are naturally drawn to your orbit, not by superficial sexual magnetism, but by something much deeper, the strength of a man who has mastered himself. This inner mastery is reflected in all aspects of your outer life. Your decision-making ability improves dramatically. The mental fog that accompanies energy dispersal dissipates, revealing a clarity of thought you may never have experienced. Problems that once seemed insurmountable become interesting puzzles that your sharpened mind solves with ease. Napoleon Hill observed that the most successful men possessed a peculiar characteristic. They rarely seemed anxious or desperate, even in the face of great challenges. They radiated a calm confidence, an inner certainty that no external circumstance could shake. This quality, he discovered, was intimately linked to the control of sexual energy. Men who master their primal urges automatically develop mastery over all other areas of life. The journey of semen retention is fundamentally a journey of self-knowledge. As you resist automatic impulses, you begin to observe the unconscious patterns that govern your life. You notice how minor frustrations automatically led you to seek sexual relief. You observe how anxiety created a vicious cycle, stress leading to masturbation, masturbation leading to energy depletion, depletion leading to more anxiety. This expanded awareness is liberating. For the first time, you clearly see the strings that move your inner puppet, and seeing them, you can choose to cut them. Each resisted impulse is a string cut. Each temptation overcome is a chain broken. You gradually become the master of your own experience, the director of your own life. After a few months of consistent practice, the transformation becomes undeniable. Your vital energy, no longer dissipated in frequent releases, creates an internal pressure that demands creative expression. You feel compelled to create, to build, to manifest. The anonymous anxiety of the past transforms into focused ambition. Restless emptiness evolves into purposeful passion. This is the true power of sexual transmutation, not the repression of desire, but its elevation. You don't become less masculine. You become more masculine. You don't lose interest in sex. You develop an interest in higher expressions of your creative energy. The fire isn't extinguished. It's channeled to forge the gold of your personal fulfillment. Modern society, with its obsession with instant gratification, has created a generation of energetically depleted, anxious, scattered men. But you now possess the knowledge that can reverse this pattern. You hold in your hands the key that Napoleon Hill discovered while studying the most powerful men of his time, the art of sexual transmutation. This isn't just a technique, it's a philosophy of life. It's the understanding that you carry within you a force capable of moving mountains, but this force must be preserved, concentrated, directed. It's the wisdom that true power comes not from releasing energy, but from containing and transmuting it. Your anxiety has always been a messenger, trying to tell you that a tremendous force was being wasted. Now you know how to hear that message, how to transform that alarm signal into fuel for your elevation. The energy that once tormented you through chronic anxiety can now become the engine of your extraordinary transformation. The path ahead isn't easy, but it's simple. Each day you choose to retain instead of release, you're investing in your energetic bank account. Each night you resist primalurges. You're building the muscle of self-discipline that will serve you in all areas of life. Each week of consistent practice, you're refining the raw material of your vital energy into the pure gold of personal fulfillment. Remember, you're not just practicing sexual abstinence. You're participating in an age-old alchemic process, a transformation that converts primalurges into civilized power, sexual energy into creative energy, scattered anxiety into laser focus. You're joining the ranks of men who have understood the secret of secrets, who have discovered how to transform matter's most primal force into the source of their greatest achievements. The time to decide is now. The energy you release today could be the fuel for your dream project tomorrow. The anxiety you feel at this moment can be transformed into the passion that will change your life. The power has always been within you. Now you know how to unleash it, not through dissipation, but through concentration, not through release, but through transmutation. Your journey of transformation begins with a simple choice: to conserve instead of waste, to conserve instead of waste, to focus instead of scatter, to uplift instead of diminish. Make that choice today, and you'll discover that the anxiety that plagued you was merely disguised power, waiting to be acknowledged, channeled, and transformed into the force that will carry you beyond your wildest dreams.